Welcome back to another episode of Atlanta Unplugged with your host, Steve Paul, and
This is D.
we have a lovely queen with us by the name of
Reigning Queen Goddess, also known as Nikki Jones, if you know.
Yay Yay. Hey, we're just going to have another dope discussion and everything today on Atlanta Unplugged, to where we're going to be talking about, various topics and highlighting, what the queen got going on in here in Atlanta and everything that everybody should be able to tap into and all that, because we're coming with some heat, you know what I mean? Some heat, some jewels, some wisdom, and things that's going to help us grow and actually get on the right path with each other and everything like that. So let's get it started.
Shay.
So, first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for coming through. I think this is the first time we have you in the building, so really appreciate you. Well, welcome in the ATL Unplugged studio. So.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Beautiful reflections. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, man, let the world know about you and what you bring to the table.
Okay. Well, my name is Nikki. I also go by Reigning Queen Goddess. That is my artist name. The purpose of me calling myself Reigning Queen Goddess is because I had a moment where I lost myself and had to redefine myself and go through the whole self-identity path. And I went back within myself to conjure up my virtue, my strength, and call back my power. And it's not anything that I say like reigning queen goddess, like I reign over anyone. It's pretty much when I go back inside myself, when I tap back into my power inside me, I reign. So reigning queen goddess is me just saying that I'm centered, I'm balanced, I'm sitting on my throne in my rightful position to be who I'm supposed to be, my I am power.
My I am power.
Wow, that's powerful.
So, in doing that, it helped me to just notice a lot of the things that I was going through mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, like the blocks. And it actually inspired me to write a book. I do a lot of journaling, or I do voice memos where I just kind of like, or wake up, I'll maybe have a dream and I'll just do like a voice memo. Like, I dreamed this weird shit and whatever it was. And I'll, go back and meditate on it and see what it is that spirit has me to do. And in my work, anything that I do, the main thing I want to be communicated about me is that I'm really big on community work, village work, and holding spiritual integrity and upholding that, because I feel like we've lost it as a people. And if we get back to having spiritual integrity with ourselves, then when we push out the energy that we're supposed to push out, our divine essence, or whatever we're supposed to be doing, working in our gifts, our talents, then we can still be able to hold space for spirit moving through us the way it's supposed to be moving through us, and healing people and not pushing out trauma. So I'm big on sitting your ass down and heal, deal with yourself, heal yourself, because you can't be out healing the community more than you're healing yourself. Like hustling, spiritually hustling backwards, I call it.
Right. But let's run the list down of the actual things that you actually do, because you do a lot. And, but we got to break it down in layman's terms for everybody else.
Right.
So let's get the list of the actual things that you do. Yeah.
I am a holistic practitioner. I deal with helping people balance the mind, body, and spirit, releasing and healing through traumas, PTSD. I am also a owner of a nationally accredited online college, which is Holistic College, Metaphysical College, where you're able to tap into becoming a holistic practitioner, a master herbalist, a yoni steam practitioner, doing the womb work, and healing with the herbs. I'm also a very eclectic artist, so I paint, and I create music. So I'm a little bit all over the place. I'm an Aquarius, so that kind of give it away. That,
Aquarius.
We kind of,
Are we in the age of Aquarius right now?
We are in the age of Aquarius. very much so.
And what does that mean?
I think with me being an Aquarius, Steve's an Aquarius too. Y'all ain't gonna like just put itself out there, but it's a three. All three of us are Aquarius.
Trifecta.
It's the whole trining energy of Aquarian energy right now. You're in the Aquarian vortex right now. But I think it has to deal with like Aquarians are big with like masters of the mind. In the zodiac, we're known as one of the most intellectual signs. So we deal a lot with mastering like creative, like school of thoughts, ideology, just birthing things just from mere thought. So I think this age of Aquarius, with it being an air sign, also governed with the water bearer. I think it gives us that fluidity so that we can tap into our spiritual fluidity, to tap into the multi-talented, multi-dimensional, all the aspects that we have as a being, and also help us to be able to embrace a new age of way we're doing stuff in society. So new ideas, new dogmas are being birthed that need, and a lot of the old stuff that need to go away is being like, you know what I mean, reintroduced in a different way. So I think it really deals with the winds of change this age.
Mm-hmm. Well, you say that's all happening this year because it's a transitional year, right?
Very 2020. If you can't see clearly by now, I don't know what to tell you.
How do you know this is Aquarius year? Is there like a calculation or some sort of measurement?
By the like the calendar. They have the different calendars, like the Mayan calendars and the according to the Gregorian, what they call the Gregorian calendar. I'm saying it.
Yeah, they got all
the different calendars where they're saying what age that we're in right now.
But you know, we just we were in the age of Pisces, and you know, I really can't pinpoint, and then I hear, you know, both sides that we're still going in there, you know, and it's always a gradual transition. So it's never like, you know, yesterday it was Pisces, now today is Aquarius. It's like a gradual transition, right? Just like on the regular monthly, you know, Aquarius. So if you're born on a cusp, you know, it's because you're just transitioning from one to another. Right. But this is on a more galactical scale.
Right. Universal scale.
Yeah.
So
but, you know, constellations and the stars and everything is really how you could measure that. And because we're not really in the space that we're really supposed to be as a people, you know, we done forgot about the science, or we lost the science of how to calculate, because, you know, our ancestors used to be able to calculate everything through the constellation stars and everything like that.
Just the sun and the moon was the guide. Like my mom said, when night come, no man can work. So look, you get all your work done in the daytime, and then you read them stars, and you know, map stuff by the moon and the stars, and the what phase the moon is in. So get into your moon magic.
Right. That's how you could calculate, even how you could calculate certain genders, if you want to have a pregnancy and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
Certain times of the days when you
crops and stuff like that. They were certain times of day, the rising of the sun, the moon phases. They said would have like certain times and seasons have more favorability towards producing a certain type, you know, seed, male or female.
Right. So you got, you know,
it's deep.
Yeah.
Take a lot of study, and we've also lost a lot of our ancient indigenous ways. So we don't know ourselves as a people, and all the ancient arts kind of like now are being resurfaced with this Aquarian age. We're like kind of going back to the root of who we are.
So how do you see everything that's going on right now when it comes to this pandemic, when it comes to Black Lives Matter, when it comes to the changing of the guard with the presidency and everything? What is your outtake on that?
I'm very observant. I I look at it as far as the pandemic. I look at it like mental warfare. I really think it's a spiritual warfare. My mom was a Christian minister, even though I'm not Christian right now. But from those teachings, she used to tell us that coming of the different ages and times, that there will be times where there'll be principalities in high places, and the war that we have will not be actually flesh and blood, but it will be actually like of the mind and of spirit. And I feel like the whole Rona, or the pandemic was an attack on the masses' mind, and to reshape and gear them into a way of reprogramming them to think in a different way, but still not have them use their own mind. So I feel like us as a people, we have to learn how to tap into using our mind, which is the most powerful thing we have. Because why is it being attacked so much, and why is it being all the programming, all the everything they put so much, whoever they are. But anyway, they put so much.
And a lot of people always say they.
Yeah.
Can we identify who is
I know.
the they? You know,
Steve was gonna go there. We were like, whoever they are, I'm gonna make that. But whoever the entities, the energies that are working against us being our full selves as a people, as a spiritual people, we come here. I feel like our whole purpose of coming to Earth is, as a spirit, is to have a human experience and to learn balance in the human body. And the spirit guide us to be able to manifest balance in the emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, financial, sexual. So I feel like the fact that we are being attacked in the mental aspect as a group, as a people, the masses, it's not okay. It's not legal technically for us to use our own mind in full capacity to damn think. I have a blog that I talk that a little YouTube series that I had with you, using your motherfucking mind one-on-one, a little, you know what I mean? And I did that 3 years ago, and it was like, there's gonna be a time where you actually get charged for using your own motherfucking mind. That's like, I'm just going off like talking like, in general. But now that is that time. Like, you can't even think. You gotta think about putting on a mask, which, I understand the standard precaution and all that, but now it's like the small things that you should take for granted, just being able to do and move in your daily being. You're having anxiety about, can I do this? Can I do that? So I feel like it's an attack on the mind, mental warfare, and control, like us not being able to control and let spirit control us and use us the way we're supposed to use our energy and divine essence as a people, to do whatever you come to do. You do whatever you come to do. It's like if you put everybody in a little clump and have them all doing the same thing, of course they're going to be disabled, because they're not working and flowing in their gifts. And spirit is not flowing through them. Spirit actually is just ether and energy that ignites the mind. The spirit tells the mind to do something, the mind does it. If the mind doesn't, then there's a mental block there. Maybe spirit told you to tell somebody something, and what did you do? Well, no, they're going to think I'm crazy, or maybe I shouldn't say that, they're going to lock me up. And so you have a mental block. So if they can create the mental block, then guess what? You won't ever come up against whatever the systems that they have, which we are, being targeted through these systems to not be able to use our power as people.
All right.
I told you, man.
Yeah, I just got one question. I was talking to one of my boy about this the other day. So I know this is the age where everybody's all getting spiritual and stuff like that. So the question, well, the subject that he was talking about was like, okay, so 2019, everybody, was pretty much getting to the spiritual word and blah, 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 blah. So why there was nobody that kind of like have a vision of the coronavirus coming in?
I don't think it was that nobody had it. One, I think, had any visions. I think people were just afraid to speak, because that mental block, like I explained, like spirit ignites the mind. We all are just big balls of ether energy. So spirit invokes the mind with a thought and tells you, hey, initiate this action, have this, conversation with so-and-so, and we don't do it. It's just like if you had a thought, well, I started to start this business like 2 years ago, and then two other people come and Spirit had to give you confirmation and synchronicity cycles and patterns. And then after the universe echoes and yells and slaps the hell out of us, then we kind of fall in alignment. Like, I guess I'm going to go ahead and do it. But for us to be the pioneers as people, spiritual pioneers, we've lost that. So we're afraid by fitting in. We don't speak a lot of things that we see. We don't tell the dreams.
Right.
We're dreamers. We're seers. We don't do that anymore because we're worried about fitting and belonging. And you don't belong to anybody but spirit, but the universe. So come and be a universal being and flow in all your gifts. That's a sin to society, and social stigmas keep that from happening.
It's a big slap the earth is giving us.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. Y'all could go.
Go ahead.
Y'all could go to my 2019 timeline, and I did say that something catastrophic was going to happen in 2020. I did say that. I didn't know what it was going to be.
Right.
And I don't think nobody's really going to know exactly what the other side is planning on doing. It's like a football game. It's like you really don't know, So you
Right.
just got to be ready and prepared for, whatever move that they make.
Right.
What type of move are you going to make to counteract that move and everything like that? Because the pandemic is a plan. You know what I'm saying? It's not a natural. It's not. It's not a natural thing. It's something that came across because you had these people that were just because they've been dealing with viruses for a long time. They've been in the laboratory dealing with all type of crap. And then now it got all out of control to where I don't think they even got control over it.
Right.
And now they're all. But since then, since that pandemic came out or the pandemic came out, I went and did a little bit of history research. Really, I didn't do it because of the pandemic. I did it because I was on something else. But I ran across something that made me relate to what's going on today. So if you go back to history, we already know the Native Americans got affected, by the smallpox and everything that Europeans brought. And then, but I went back further to the Aztecs, and they were affected by a disease and everything. So this is something that has been happening like every turn of the century or something like that. But the root cause is what I took notice. And, whoever, the ones that, I'll just say, white people done brought the diseases, brought all the diseases as gifts, you know what I mean?
As gifts.
To decimate, you know what I mean? To decimate the original people of that land, man.
Right, I get it.
So for somebody that's not spiritual, especially during this crazy time, how can one that's not spiritual handle his spirituality at the moment with everything that's going on?
I think one good thing that happened from the pandemic was it was a beautiful thing, but it also was sad for me because it's funny to see how many people are afraid of being in the company of their own company and knowing what it's like to spend time with themselves, to actually deal with themselves and go deep. Like a lot of people were forced into that, like people that have been searching outside of themselves and looking from day to day for the next escape. I feel like it made you deal with your shit, which was a beautiful thing. But for those who haven't dealt with their shit in forever, like, childhood traumas and, grown up traumas now, it was a lot. So you've seen a lot of people really down spiral and lose themselves. So that my heart and my spirit really mourned for them. And I feel like it was a time of rebalancing and rebirth. And if you were able to take time to spend time getting to know yourself and tapping back into that spiritual aspect of yourself, and it's something that many people found, like, through meditation or prayer or whatever you do. But I always say it's just as simple as whenever they tell you you're having a bad day or you need to calm down, and tell you to take a deep breath. In my book, my Sacred Sexuality book, Sacred Sexy Sensual Spirit, I teach people breath, spirit, and God is the same thing. So if you hold your breath, will you you will cease to be. If you have no breath, if there's no God, energy, ether in you, you cease to be. So if you take that moment to take a deep breath in through your nose and
Breathe in that
you're
good
breathing in the
product.
breath of God, and God is like pushing you back out into the universe so that you can. That is your refueling. That is your regeneration. Your rejuvenation of your spirit. And a lot of us been walking around with our shoulders up to our neck and our ears and stuff like that, and we're clenching our teeth and we're just walking around like real tight and uptight, and we have never took the time to just take a breather and say, you know what, I need to sit down and heal. So it forced a lot of people to deal with a lot of trauma. It forced a lot of people to see a lot of the stuff that they're entertaining was not stuff that they really needed in their life. So so it was just like one of those things that I feel like it helped, but for some people it was a bit much and they needed some guidance through it. So it was a beautiful thing.
So
Just the healing aspect of it.
let's deep dive into the sexual aspect of things, because the title of your book is
Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit.
Sexy,
Sacred,
sexy,
sensual. It's a little tongue twister.
spirit.
Sacred, Sexy, Sensual Spirit. And I also have a 12-week intensive and a 4-month intensive, 5-month intensive that is a course where women and men can actually tap back into their sacred sexuality and spirituality. I teach that sexual energy and spiritual energy is, you can't use one without the other. It takes two people having sex, which are two spirits, to open the portal for another spirit to come through. So in magic or in the arts, we're taught that sex is one of the highest performing rituals that you can do, along with DNA, blood, and bone, dealing with that type of magic. So
Is
Wait. The ritual?
yes, sex
Right.
is a ritual. You do a daily
Yeah.
ritual. You get up and brush your teeth. You wash your face. That's a ritual. That's a routine. That's what keeps you in your flow.
yeah.
Now, for the
How did
earth
it
to
end
continue
up as
populating, you
a
have two
sexual-
spirits.
Sexual. What's the? I guess the question is like, what's the gain of having that?
What is the what?
What are you gaining from that sexual, spiritual? Like it's stupid.
What are you gaining from the sexual?
Never mind.
Come on with it, D.
Switch.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna edit that part.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, is there a difference between love and sex?
Yes.
Is it on the spiritual side of it?
When you
Right.
get into sex, love is a very high energetic, high positive frequency. And sex can be primal. It can be unfulfilling. However, whenever you do the act of sex, it's still a ritual. And I always teach people that you are always manifesting. We all have the gift to manifest. Whether you're consciously manifesting the things you want into your life or unconsciously manifesting the things you do not want into your life, you still are manifesting. You have the gift of manifestation. So when you are mindful and have intentional sex, to where you are having sex on a tantra level, to where you're tapping into spirit, aligning the kundalini energy, which is the energy that runs up the spine and spirals up to actually create a vortex of healing between two individuals, or in masturbation, meditation purposes, to heal yourself. I feel like sex can be a tool to help someone, or you can also use it to hinder someone. If you have someone that's more spiritually inclined or sexually inclined.
Is it the same for man and woman? Because you know how the normal viewpoint, is that if women have more than one sex partners, they're hoes.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're sluts.
Right.
Men, we
Can
pimp,
do it
we
and
play
get
is,
no
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Consequences of repercussion. Right. I feel like it's on both ends. just because of the patriarchy system, it has kind of tainted the balance of either both is, you know what I mean? How are you using your energy? Are you using it mindfully, or are you using it in reverse against yourself? So just the same way you can have sex, or you can have sex, or I can have sex, it's really the same thing. We're exposing our spirits to whatever is that. Whenever you have sex with somebody, whether you're doing it just for a one night stand or whatever, you still connect and open your spirit up to their whole lineage, whatever disagreeable or agreeable spirits they have going on, and from their both sides of their family, you connect and infuse your energy with everything they are and everything they're not. So you become them and they become you. So that's why in my book I teach about complementary familiar spirits and non-complementary familiar spirits, meaning that we can have a whole bond and we can vibe, but sometimes that don't mean we're supposed to have sex. We can have a good vibe and we're supposed to help each other heal through trauma. Sometimes we trauma bond and we become close with these people and we have sex and all we do is exchange traumas and we don't actually heal each other. When you meet someone and like just in a regular day energetically crossing people's path, you're supposed to be edifying your brothers and your sisters like all the time. But a lot of times we're not giving our highest self. We're not pouring that out because we ourselves are full of trauma, so we don't have anything but toxic energy to pull out.
But can you love someone but then have sex with others, but still have somebody that you love?
Yeah, because love is a high. You got to realize love is a very high frequency. You can love, and then there's also a scripture that says love covers all. Wrong, meaning love is like unconditional.
Do you know the love language?
The book is what you're speaking of?
No, if you
look, Steve be trying to pull it out of me, like, you know, he always do me like this.
Go ahead, finish that.
But you can, like, I think when it comes to sex, like sex and love, you have to be very mindful. I talk about spiritual rape in my book, talking about, say, for instance, you have a woman or a man, and it could be a man that's older than a woman or a woman that's older than a man, whatever. Or they can be the same age, and one's just more sexually experienced than the other. And you have the little things like, oh, I'm about to turn him out, I'm going to turn her out. Well, all that is saying is that I am more spiritually inclined and sexually inclined. So I know that whenever I tap into you, many people don't know that when a man taps into a woman's cervix and you hit her cervix, you automatically hit her heart. So that same organ is connected to the heart chakra. So that's why all of a sudden we feel in love. We like want to know what you're doing all day. Same way with a man. We tap into y'all psyche too. So you open up a person's psyche.
Size matter?
Size does matter, but you still can look. You still can either way. When you open up and you actually have that intercourse, you are intertwining energies, and so you tap into maybe a childhood trauma. You tap into whatever it is, and they fuse with that energy and connect with it, and all of a sudden now they feel like this is the person I'm supposed to be with for the rest of my life. And it could be somebody that the guy or the girl was just like, I just wanted to, have a quick little fix or whatever. So you have to be really sound in yourself and understand your sexual energy. But that all the whole mess up with that comes from society, the way we're taught as people how to use our sexual energy, like not for ourselves. Like we use our sexual energy and our sexual pleasure comes from someone else teaching us how to be pleased and how to receive pleasure. Most of the time when women it's like experience any type of pleasure, they understood what pleasure was based off what the man felt and what he got out of it. But a lot of women that come to me, even my mom came to me, and this is what kind of saddened my heart. My mom had 3 kids and had been in three relationships. She had been married and dating, but she had never had an orgasm. So you can have, if every time you had a baby, you had to have an orgasm, that would let you know that it'll be way less people in the world. But the fact that women can have children without having an orgasm, let you know that it's a lot of women that are sexually not satisfied. They're sexually not being fulfilled. And I teach that you deserve pleasure in all areas of your life, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, sexually, financially. So we tap into all of that and birth that out of the womb space. men have a spiritual womb too. So the same way.
Wait a minute now.
I went too deep for him. Wait, bring it back.
You know, we in Atlanta, so you had to make clear
Oh
what
my
you
God.
talking about
Yes,
here.
yes. But we
Yeah,
do
yeah.
have, we do, the man has a spiritual womb because they come through a womb. So you're able to tap into that spiritual aspect of your mother's womb.
Oh yeah, that's my one right there. You best not
So,
go.
so being said, like you also can birth things out of your sexual energy. Sexual energy and creative energy is the same thing. We create out of the sexual creativity. Like a lot of times when I'm abstaining from sex, like I'll create, I'll paint, I'll dance, I'll create a song that's very sensual.
Can you reverse menopause?
You can reverse menopause I actually went through a situation myself whenever I had my first daughter. My first daughter, who passed away, she was stillborn, and my hormones were imbalanced. So I had a hormonal imbalance that caused me to start having menopausal symptoms, and like I started to actually have the hot flashes. I started to have the night sweats, and they ended up having to put me on medications to bring that back into alignment, my hormones. So if a woman has a depletion of certain hormones, estrogen, or inadequate levels of progesterone, testosterone, all of that going into play, they can also go into premenopausal syndrome. Now, if it's just your time and you have been living here for a while on the earth and you eat right and it's just time for your menses to cease, it will cease at some point in time.
All right, so I got a question on is there a relation between food and spirituality?
Yes, there is. The way I feel about spiritually, now this is gonna go over a lot of people's head. I was just having a conversation with a brother of mine, and we were talking about how we're water beings here on this planet. Little droplets of air, droplets of water. This whole planet's surrounded by water. So we have to learn how to eat based on our biological composition. Meaning, if you were from a certain region and a certain area, if certain foods don't grow there, most likely that people did not eat that food because it wasn't available, it wasn't there. So, Spirit, God, the universe, is very knowledgeable and wise to know how to have people eat according to their region. And so, different plants were in certain areas. Now, as we got on into the trade, and we got to with the slave trades and all the different moving people here and there. So you got everybody eating all type of crazy stuff. But I also I went through the whole being raw, being vegan, pescatarian. I've gone through all the different phases of eating. I do know that whenever you do cease your digestion, like allow yourself to fast for at least 3 days, your health speeds forth like it actually renews itself. So your body needs to have a break sometimes and just flush so that it can deal with all the waste, all the toxins that you breathe in, that you eat, so that you can have a spiritual reset. And that actually helps with the clarity of the mind, so the organs and the body can function and flow in a more, resilient, healing manner and heal itself. And going forward, when people say, well, what do you think about the ancestors who were slaves and they would just feed us scraps, and that's why we eat, and that's why our menu and our that's why we have what we have on our menu, and that's why we eat what we eat. So I also go into spiritual alchemy because I went through a time when my girls and we were having a rough time, and I was going to food pantries, I didn't have food. And I was like really beating myself up about this vegan plant-based thing. Like, damn, like the only thing that I want to be grateful and have a spirit of gratitude. But when you go to the pantry, they give you a bunch of starch. They don't really give you a bunch of vegetables and fresh fruits and stuff like that. They don't give you any of that stuff. So I went through a stage of trying to figure out like how to balance this out. And I went through this meditation, and spirit like ignited my spirit with spiritual alchemy. Meaning that, remember the slaves, remember your ancestors, they were fed pretty much crap all day long, and they would be in the field sweating. They get whipped, you know what I mean, and all type of stuff, but they still prayed over their food. So spiritual Reiki, the infusion of food, our prayer, we prayed and we put the intentions in our food, make like dear Father God or whatever, whoever they pray to. We pray that you bless this food so it be nourishment for our body. You know what I mean? And that's where those prayers come from, because that was us practicing Reiki in our indigenous time. So even though we were given scraps, we still can get up and eat a piece of cornbread, and Papa could go out and be all day long, 14, 15, 16 hours, and then do a slave run, and you know what I mean, do all the type of stuff. Big Mama can birth all these kids and still be able to feed Master's kids and have Master on, her breast. Master's on, children on their breast. So I feel like spiritual alchemy is something that we have to remember to bless our food, put the intentions into our food, and then that also makes us more mindful. If you're able to eat a certain way and you have access to it, do so, because when you know better, wisdom is applied, you do that shit. But when you don't have it, don't beat yourself up, because spirit sees your heart and understands what your situations may be. You may be in prison and got to eat whatever the hell they put on your damn plate. What you gonna do, starve the whole 12, 13, 14, 16, 20 years you in there? No, you're going to spiritually alchemize that food. So I think sometimes we get a little too deep, and so spirit like
alchemize that food.
I think, you know what I mean? I think we go so deep we lose ourselves in the whole trying to be in a mental compartmental box of I'm a vegan, I'm a vegetarian, I'm a life living spirit that's trying to survive.
Yeah.
You gotta pray for the fufu when you come home.
I'm done.
Pray for the food.
Yeah.
You gotta spiritual alchemize that shit. Like, jump your punk ass in like that.
Do I say that? Yeah.
I'm done. You might want to pray over it before, Steve. I'm just saying. Put some love and light into it. God, please transfer these chitlins into whatever. Like, I'm just playing. I hope they ain't eat chitlins, but I'm just saying.
Now, on the relations, the intercourse thing, we be eating that too. So
right.
Do we pray over that too before we?
You should pray before you place your lips.
Now I'm gonna go down there, but I gotta.
In Jesus' name, Mother, Father, let her rule all of y'all. Somebody, divine host, come and tap into this. Yes, I think just me and Steve like to have fun, so. I think we should actually be mindful of everything that we do, and have intentions and be very intentful in all of our movements. And that's the whole purpose of us being able to come here as a spirit and have a human experience and balance all that shit out,
Right.
And make sure that we are entertaining energies that are complementary to our journey and where we're going and what spirit has for us to do. So we always have to make sure we're iron sharpening iron, trying the fruit by the fruit, the spirit by the spirit, making sure it's what it is. If not, you cut that shit away, you do away with it, you move on, and you align more with your higher self, or that's God's spirit energy, so that you can be your full I am.
Yes, indeed. I'm all about getting back to the natural order of things. That's the way I would like things to happen, to where we submit to the universal laws and principles that we all got to submit to.
Right.
So no matter who you think you are, what I mean, religion-based, whatever, atheist, whatever, the things that we all got to submit to, like breathing air, drinking water, walking on the same planet, you know what I mean? I want to get back to the natural order of things. Now, we got to wrap this up, because we got to, we could spend all day.
Look, Steve tried to invoke all the energies out of me at one time and just be like, he know I'll go to the Aquarius mental mind stuff.
Yeah, we'll be in the ether, just, you know what I mean?
We should.
The Aquarius, man, they can't handle that.
They ain't gonna be ready for all this air. This
we got to have a secret society meeting for that one.
Right.
You know what I mean? They ain't ready for that. You know what I mean?
They're not ready.
But so just Whatever's on your
Someone
heart.
can
Yeah.
approach you, and then if you
Um,
have anything in your heart you want to tell the viewer, go ahead, feel free.
One thing I would like to say, just for being mindful and honoring and paying homage to spirit and my ancestors, for allowing me to be invited to these type platforms and speak. I do know we in the community we're big on image and stuff like that, but I want to remind people it's not about an image. It's not about a certain dress type or how you look. It's about what you're doing and having spiritual integrity. I always like to go back to that because if we don't have any spiritual integrity, all we're doing is promoting more trauma by not healing the trauma within ourselves. And I want to remind people to tap into taking time to get to know yourself, doing the self work, the shadow work, and going into the deep. I always say my home is in the deep, and the reason why I say that is because I go deep within and I figure my shit out. I actually deal with my stuff. So I would like to invite everyone to really take time to look at your community, look at your families, trace the energy within yourselves, and see the need for the healing. And let's stop moving through the facades and going through the motion and actually heal as a people and do the village work, starting with ourselves. And you can find me if you like to get any spiritual coaching sessions, or if you like to join and be a student at my online accredited, nationally accredited college, SGO Wellness. You can find me at Instagram. I'm at Adventures of a Sacred Goddess. That's Adventures of a Sacred Goddess. I know it's super long, but my life is an adventure. And also Sacred Goddesses Oasis.org.
Tap in, y'all. Tap right on in and get your spiritual tune up. You know, and it's all three levels: spiritual, mental, and physical tune up. The sister got it right here. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you very much for being with us here on Atlanta Unplugged. And that's it. That's all. Like, share, subscribe, and press that notification bell